Call the meeting to order. Start with the pledge. Start with
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I see Jim.
Moving on to agenda item number 3, roll call. Bob, you want to start us?
Bacon present.
Subject Jordan present.
Kikwan present.
Milky present.
Bars present.
Quorum present. Move on to item number 4. Approval of today's agenda.
I'd like to motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I second it.
Got a motion by Melky, support by Chowdhury to approve of today's agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Hearing no opposition, the agenda is approved. And we'll let the record know, Mr. Jim Zaled, now present.
Apologies for tardiness.
Let you slide this time.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
And moving on to item 5, got the meeting minutes from February 17th, 2026, regular meeting.
Motion approved.
Support.
Got a motion by Bars, support by, was that Bacon? To approve of the February 17th meeting minutes. Hearing no questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Hearing no opposition, the meeting minutes are approved. And let's go on to agenda item number 6, presentations. Looks like we have the DDA funds audit presentation.
Good
Wanna
afternoon.
Introduce yourself, state your name for the record, please.
I'm Allie Barnes, a principal with Yo and Yo, and our firm was hired to perform the Township, which encompasses the East and West DDA as component units audit for 2025. So we're gonna run through the results as it pertains to the DDA. Okay, the township received overall what's called an unmodified or clean audit opinion. This is the opinion you want us to provide to you. It essentially is the highest level of assurance that we can provide that the information presented in your financial statements has been done so fairly in accordance with the rules that you're required to follow. We're going to talk about some of the numbers for each of the DDAs, starting with the East DDA. Here you can see for the past 5 years the trends in revenues and expenditures. So you'll note that revenues have continued to trend upwards, the most significant portion coming from property tax revenue. So for 2025, that was about $590,000. There is some other revenue, things like interest income that come in that totaled about $210,000. So East DDA recognized roughly $800,000 in revenue for 2025. And then on the expenditure side, there was approximately $291,000 in expenditures. And I will remind you that this graph on the expenditure side, if you do a large capital outlay project, it's not going to show as expenditures here because it gets moved to the balance sheet and depreciated over time, and it's depreciation that would fall into these numbers. The West DDA has seen revenue trending upwards also. The increase between 2024 and 2025 wasn't as much, but it still did increase. So total revenues for West DDA were about $524,000. $453,000 of that related to property tax revenues. and about 71,000 came in other forms such as the interest income. And then on the expenditure side, this fund has held pretty consistent expenditures the last couple years, so about 122,000 in total 2025 expenditures recorded there. So because those revenues have outpaced expenditures, we continue to see net position increase in this fund. So that's gonna be all of your assets less any liabilities gives you what's left over or net position. So the East DDA increased net position by about 508,000, giving you about 3.3 million in total ending net position at 12/31/25. And then the West DDA increased net position about 402,000, giving you about 2.5 million in total net position at the end of the calendar year. So still seeing those balances increase. I know there's always several projects being considered, and you definitely have net position there to work with for some of those projects. When it comes to internal controls and compliance, there was nothing that came to our attention related to either DDA that would be something like a material weakness, a significant deficiency, or some type of written management comment. So overall, controls are looking great. Township is definitely keeping track of these dollars well and making sure they're separating the dollars out appropriately, and so that you can see that activity. Because we didn't have any large adjustments from the audit, that would lead us to believe that the information you see then throughout the year is good information and not something that you should be questioning. And with that, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Anybody?
No? Pretty,
I have one question. Do we have any tax captures that will disappear? You know, like we get a percentage of taxes. Do we have any of those that are like timed out? Aren't they eliminated after?
You're talking about the tax for financing?
Yeah.
No.
Nothing in the future.
We have, basically at this point, because in 2021, we were able to extend the timeframe of our DDA districts for another 20 years. So that's the
That was what it was. That's it. Okay.
Still have 17, 18 years on that.
And then library was the library the only one that didn't participate anymore? Was it the
Right,
library?
there are certain villages we cannot capture.
Yeah.
We're all set. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
That was quick.
Yeah.
That was easy.
Moving on to agenda item number 7, public comment. Anybody? Anybody online?
Nobody online.
Seeing no public present, we'll move on to agenda item number 8, with reports. Starting out 8A, accounts payable.
Good evening, guys.
Hello.
Did everybody get a chance to look over payables? Okay. The only thing I wanted to know in your payables, so you'll see items from last month because we did not have a quorum, and then, for this month's meeting as well. I just wanted to highlight, there's a charge for 72,000 roughly, for Bill's Custom Fab. That was for the, the EDA bench and trash receptacle, project. That was basically a rehab on all of the benches and the trash receptacles. They did, Bill's Custom Fab did welding work on the benches, painting, getting them back to looking in brand new condition pretty much. So it's my understanding they were going to do progress billings on that, but they just did one final bill for that project, so that's complete. And then as far as your revenue and expenditure reports, those are through the end of March. Nothing really to point out on those. And then same thing with your balance sheets, you're gonna see through the end of March for the balance reports as well. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do we need to pay them separate? Or are they combined these days? It almost looks like they're combined.
They are combined for the
Okay.
payables. All of the checks are combined from last month to this month.
And
from
east
meeting
and
days.
west?
East and west, yep, they
Okay.
are combined. Off to the left-hand side, it does tell you amounts for both the east and west. That
Mhm.
248 is the east DDA. And then that 250 fund is the west.
West, okay.
So you can see those kind of separated out. And then the very last page of that distribution report for the payables,
Mhm.
there is a total for, that's split out for both the east and west as well. So you can see those separated.
Good. Make a motion, we approve the bills as presented.
Second it.
Got a motion by Zaled, support by Chowdhury, to approve the payables. Hearing no questions, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. And payables are approved
Thank
for the
you.
east
Thank
and
you.
west. Any questions on the financials?
Other than we need to spend some money.
Yeah.
Okay. Tried, you weren't here.
Yeah.
Not spend it.
I'm sorry about that. Talk to Mrs. Allen about that.
So let's let the record show the financials were presented, received, and filed. In your board packet on 8B, guys have the board member matrix. We still have one vacant seat, right?
Looks
We
like
do.
it.
And moving on to agenda item 8C, the annual EDA board report for review and approval. There, Rodney.
So, yeah, so you have the draft report for 2025 in front of you. I'm happy to answer any questions about it. We tried to make sure we covered all the items we worked on last year, projects that were completed, or progress was made. Made some additional notes on some things that where we have some hangups, like on sidewalks. So this is noted there where we're going next. But anyway, I'm happy to answer questions, and if you're comfortable with the report, my suggestion would be just a motion to approve it, and we'll post the final version on our website. Certainly, if you have any changes, we're happy to make any adjustments you know, in this document.
I think it's a great report.
Yep.
This was my cheat sheet for the combined joint meeting we had,
Yeah.
so I can pretend like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, you do know what you're talking about. There's a difference. How we come on our sidewalk projects? Be able to drag them across the finish line this year?
I'd love to. We have not been able to resolve Bud Street. That's a big one that we see right of way there that the County Road Commission
Doesn't.
cannot see for some reason. And we have not come up with a resolution to that. We talked about that vacant land there was purchased by an investor. Never heard anything more from him. He contacted us, and we met with him informally.
Yeah.
Just after I suppose, I don't think he closed on the property. I think he'd entered into an agreement. And he was all excited then, but haven't heard anything since. So the other way to solve the sidewalk is if he develops something and he builds it.
Yep, there you
And
go.
then we just have to build the part in front of that
In
house.
front of the park. Okay.
We'll see. It's similar issue on Isabella Road, where we have another sidewalk project that's all engineered, and we just need easements, because we don't
Yep.
have enough right of way.
Yep. Okay, thanks.
Remind me which part of Isabella that is?
It's between
K Street.
K Street south to Broadway.
Yeah.
And,
I'll be able to place them down to Smith and Sons. It's economic development.
yeah,
That's right.
that's on the east or west side of
East
Isabella?
east side.
East side.
Yeah. We are, north of K Street, we have sidewalk. That's a very narrow one, old sidewalk there. We're about to get a chunk of it redone. The microgrid that's going in behind, just south of Burger King, is actually redoing that, removing the original sidewalk, and they're moving it back. Part so they can put a modern driveway in there, but also function a little better. So they're actually putting an easement on the property to do that.
You said we have the right of way to complete the job then, or?
No, we don't.
Don't
That's the
have it.
problem. There's only a few feet of right of way outside, beyond the curb on Isabella Road, because they widened that road without widening the right of way. And so it's the original 66-foot wide rural right of way. And there's just not enough room to be able to get sidewalks in all the way down. There are parts where we could put the sidewalk close to the road, but there are obstacles that we have to get out of the right of way, the number of locations, all down that stretch.
Yep.
It really, if we put the sidewalk close to the road, it's useless in the wintertime, and much of the rest of the year, it's fairly dangerous. So you want to try to move that back a little further if you can.
Well, I'm going to ask a rhetorical question, but if you decide you want to answer, I'm happy to hear it. So why does Road Commission continue to widen roads, but yet not widen their right-of-ways? Because it causes us great grief in many places in the township, Bluegrass being another one of those.
I've worked with road commissions all over the state. I have never seen one before I came here that was allergic to right of way. They all want more. They want, typically at Isabel Road, the goal of most county road commissions with a road like that would be a 120-foot right of way. It's certainly at least 100. So I've never seen anything like it, what we have here. I know it's certainly easier for them. They don't have to try to buy that property or condemn it. If they can squeeze the road itself into that existing right of way, as far as they're concerned, they've met their obligation. The challenge is everybody else that needs to be along that space with utilities, sidewalks, streetlights, all the other things that have to get individual easements. But that's not the road commission's responsibility, essentially. As far as they're concerned, they have a road, they have a right of way. So it's an interesting mindset. It's certainly challenging, as you said, for other entities. And I've never seen another road commission that acts that way.
Thanks.
Well, they're still in the rural, they have a lot more rural roads than they have urban roads, so. And as the name says, road, not sidewalks and streetlights commission. And lastly is they do avoid it for the same reason it's a pain for us, because it is, well, you saw that down on Lincoln Road, on that, how long that was held up, and finally, Pat just threw in the towel on getting the easement to go down there for that, and you were dealing with, 2 or 3 property owners, and they're not built to do that. It'd be nice if we could offer some assistance in obtaining easements, because personally, I'd like to see us finish Lincoln Road up from the bridge up to M20, but back in the same boat, you're gonna have to get some easements, and somebody has to do it. And
Was it easements, or was it they didn't think it was bad enough to leave it, didn't have the ratings bad enough to do it? I can't remember, it seemed like that was the explanation.
Well, the part north of the Chippewa River, what they call the Pazer rating,
Yeah.
was I mean, it's not reached that point yet.
Yeah.
Even now, it's not reached the point where it triggers a more immediate action. But really, what we're talking about is things like having that'd be a Class A road, which would add real
Right.
value for truck traffic and such.
Yeah.
Wouldn't the Pazer rating on the south side have been the same as the north side, that they agreed to do it?
We had a lot being washed out because of the way the
I don't
drainage
remember.
worked there.
I just know that.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know about the ratings, I know they use that to kind of prioritize, the roads, but, the two significant things, benefits of improving that last section, is right now, it's just an 11-foot road. And if you've ever driven down there, the outside the white lines is like that.
Yeah.
What really stood out after the township paid for the widening of the shoulders, as we've talked about, there's not enough right-of-way to run sidewalk down there the way you'd like to without filling in the ditches. And the one thing about what they did on Lincoln Road south of the bridge and then all the way into campus
Right.
is you have paved shoulders, which is a lot better for, I've seen walkers out there, but certainly for bikers, you can get that 3 foot that you should have from the traffic lane. And the other thing, as Rodney mentioned, is turning it into an all-weather road so that trucks during weight restrictions are not forced to drive all the way into town and drive down Mission to go out the south end of town.
So I thought that was the joint agreement with us in the town, or the road commission, to make that all Class A road. But it seemed like we got it completed. We're asking about it, and they're putting the stops on it for a while.
Well, you go ahead, Al.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, like, as Rodney said, is that what they have abandoned is the Isabella Bluegrass full 5 lanes, full curb and gutter section. They have thrown in the towel trying to do that. Broomfield to Lincoln, up to Pickard, and then I guess it's up
Yeah,
at Pickard here, we're all set here, but from this stretch going down there. So I think a good compromise was, like, say, what they did from Broomfield up to the bridge. And into town there, we have paved shoulders, so it's certainly a lot more conducive for biking and that. So one of the things I'd like to propose, and I'm not a big fan of just sitting in meetings and throwing out ideas, the open committee format, but if we could put together a subcommittee or something to address, because we have a lot of money that's sitting there. And I know Rodney's working on projects and trying to do this and that, and, the numbers just keep going up. And at some point, there's gotta be projects that we can do that don't require a lot of engineering. I know one thing, just spitballing, is I'm sure if we gave the road commission some money to fire up the asphalt plant and do some paving in in the districts, we could probably accomplish some of that. I'm not saying that's the most important, but I don't know how we move that. That is, since I've been on the West EDA, that has been a chronic problem. The West was all right because we had, big needs and big projects that we saved money for. But like I say, there's a lot of money there, and if we get the road commission to match dollar for dollar, or however we could do that, I think there's some things we could do, but it's pretty tough in just a regular board meeting to do that kind of brainstorming unless somebody wants to. We got a better idea. But.
So we will have, you saw it last time in the budget cycle, we'll be doing that again, looking at the capital improvements plan, looking at those future years. And there are some numbers in that plan for road improvements in the especially East EDA that the road commission has already shared, looking ahead. And the Lincoln project is in there as well, looking ahead. That one, I don't think I have a number on it. We really don't know what that number is right now. Anyway, that's something that with definitely be part of our planning for the future and reserving some of those funds that we have for those larger projects that will be coming up in those future years for the capital improvements program. As we're working on the budget in the second half of the year, we'll be looking at that definitely and having those conversations.
Okay, good, thank you.
Any other questions or comments about the annual report?
Looks good.
So is that something we want a motion to approve that?
I think motion to approve it would be good order. Yes.
Anybody?
Make a motion to approve the official title.
2025 Annual Synopsis of Economic Development Authority Board Activities.
Activities as presented.
Support.
Got a motion by Zalid, support by Bars, to approve the annual synopsis. Hearing no more comments or questions, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And the motion is approved. Thank you. And moving on to item 8D, Community and Economic Development Monthly Report. What do you got there?
This is for your reading pleasure. I'm certainly happy to answer any comments about it. This is the report that I prepare for our manager every month, and then he uses this and prepares a report for the entire Township administration for our Board of Trustees. Certainly your activities figure prominently in these reports. We've included, I think this may be the second meeting where you've seen it. We've started including it in your agenda, just as I said, for your information purposes. And as I said, if you have any questions.
I appreciated this because
Yeah.
you go through and you find out some of the activities of the various departments, and apparently you have a few complaints about here, not from you guys, but out in the community, and you're basically a complaint department has to handle these, and it gets more involved. But I mean, I just appreciated this. So that gives like sometimes you leave here and you go out, you find something going on and you don't know about it, and you wonder what, and this pretty much summarizes it, especially some of the information that you published here on some of the new construction or some of the who's doing what. I mean, that helps a lot.
Good.
Especially in
Well,
Yep, no, good information.
thank you.
So we'll let the record show the Community and Economic Development Monthly Report was distributed and reviewed. And moving on to agenda item number 9, new business. Looks like we have some request for board action.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good to be here with you all. I saw some of you last week, and I haven't been to a EDA meeting in a while, so I'm happy to be here. You were mentioning just a few minutes ago the need to spend a little money. Well, that's why I'm here. And the Union Township is asking the Economic Development Authority, and in particular the West or the East DDA, to consider approving a participation agreement with the township to help fund the completion of some Jameson Park infrastructure that's related to a couple of things. One, trying to revitalize the park, generally speaking, and we've been doing that for a number of years now. The EDA board has participated in those activities over the years. The EDA board helped fund beautification improvements at the park. I think helped fund some playground equipment at the park, would have been years ago. New sidewalking and fencing that you see along Bud Street. And then our most recent addition to the park is to repurpose the baseball field. And we're doing away with the baseball field. It's not used anymore. There's no real need for it. Folks are looking for multi-field facilities. And so in some of that area, are going to be installing an outdoor fitness court similar to what we have at McDonald Park. And as part of that project, there's the fitness court itself. We'll be removing dugouts in the baseball field area. We'll be removing fencing that runs essentially from home plate thereabouts all the way out to the left field flagpole. So that is all part of the installation of the outdoor fitness court. In the original recommended budget for the EDA back in the fall of '26, we had this item in your budget as a staff recommendation. The amount at that time, I want to say, was close to $200,000 or double this amount anyways. What we're here for tonight is asking to reconsider that decision and reconsider it in the amount of $74,000. And that would pay for not the fitness court itself, but those other things. The concrete pad underneath the fitness court, the removal of the fencing, the dugouts, sidewalk connector from that fitness area over to the bathrooms. We're also applying for a 2% grant for this work as well. The total project is $300 and some $1,000. Union Township General Fund 2%, and then $74,000 that we're requesting of the EDA. So that's what I'm here for. Appreciate your consideration, your deliberation, and any questions that you may have as you begin to debate and discuss the matter. Be happy to, either myself or Mr. Nanny can answer these.
All right.
Questions, comments?
I think it's a very well thought out response to our concerns that, as I remember the discussion. And appreciate you breaking out stuff for us. And I guess I think it's a solid proposal that I can probably support.
I agree too, and I think it's, relatively to assist in that part of it too.
Yep.
And I think one of the things we talked about in the future is you have the Parks and Rec Committee, maybe take a look at an overall structure, so we can take a look at everything, including whatever they come up with. So I certainly encourage this as well.
Robert?
I'm not opposed to us putting in money for this.
Okay.
Yep. You get a motion?
I make a motion to approve the participation agreement with the Board of Trustees for fiscal year 2026 funding for the East DDA district funding amount of $74,000 to support completion of the new Jameson Park Recreation Facility infrastructure improvements subject to fiscal year 2026 East DDA fund budget amendment to add this appropriation and to authorize the township manager to sign the agreement.
I'll support.
Got a motion by Bars, support by Zaled. Any more questions or comments?
Just on the, around the concrete pad is a storm basin. The only thoughts that came to mind when I saw that was just foot traffic.
It's actually only 6 inches.
Oh, that's all that is?
Very shallow swale, just shallow enough to allow it to collect.
Perfect.
But it's only 6 inches.
That alleviates my concern, so.
Frankly,
thank
when
you.
you're out there, you may not even realize it's there. It's very shallow, very shallow slope as well.
But that'll serve the purpose it needs, so, oh, fantastic, thank you.
Hearing no more questions, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And the motion is approved.
Thank you very much, and I'll extend to the Board of Trustees your graciousness, and so thank you very much.
No,
Yep,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Oh, I have a question, Rodney. I just noticed the Thrive Church that owns that land to the north. They cleared that all out. Are they proposing to start construction soon, or?
They are very, very close. They're just working out their logistical details at this point. But yes, they're very close to getting started.
Good.
Yeah. Three Rivers Corporation is working with them.
Okay.
So moving on to agenda item 9B. So we have another request for board action, budget amendment.
Thank you. You should have a memo dated April 14th. This is consideration of budget amendment number 1 to our East DDA fund and West DDA fund. We are, as you'll see there, we have Mary Ann, our finance director, Woodhill Group, put this item together at her direction, and we're going back to the practice we've had in the past to having be more focused on quarterly budget amendments, making adjustments as we go along. The last couple of years, we've not had every quarter for that, but so this is intended to be a first quarter budget amendment, and you'll see it's relatively modest changes. If for both the East and West DDA funds, you'll see revenue changes there that are related to tax settlement. The original budget was based on estimates, and now we have the actual numbers. So there's some minor adjustments there, either up or down in our revenues, down for the East DDA, up for the West DDA. We also have some corresponding adjustments to our DDA fund contributions to the fire fund that you'll see there again based on the actual tax settlement numbers. And then on page 1 of the report, page 45 of the packet, you'll see a couple of items added as expenditures for the East DDA fund. One is what's already mentioned by Hannah, the rehabilitation of trash receptacles and benches in the East DDA. When we did the original budget last fall for East DDA, we were expecting that progress billing, where part of this would be billed in 2025, the rest in 26. And so in the end of budget, they decided to do just a final bill, and so essentially the funding was moved all into the 2026 budget here with this change. So as I said, that project is complete. The work has been done. Actually, I could go out there and enjoy the benches. They look great. They function very, very well. And we've had some positive comments already about them. The other item that you see there is the item you just took action on, and that's a contribution to the general fund for $74,000 for the site working foundation for the fitness center in the East DDA. So you'll see it reflected there, and you'll see it reflected in the final numbers for increase in the expenditures in the East DDA. Overall, for the East DDA, the resulting impact of this budget amendment, proposed amendment, is to decrease projected year-end fund balance by $138,000 and some change compared to the original budget. That's because of the increase in expenditures for the East DDA. For the West DDA, there's a anticipated increase in projected year-end fund balance by $14,000 and change due to the increased tax revenues on that side. And so with that, we would invite you to consider that proposed motion to adopt the amendment number 1, and also to recommend, if you choose to adopt it, recommend this amendment to the Board of Trustees. Under state law that governs this, Public Act 57, 2018, the Board of Trustees has a final approval authority over the DDA budgets. So your action is to adopt, and their action is to approve, essentially, is how that reads. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Did you say that, is it the Woodhill group that recommended going quarterly, adjusting
Well,
quarterly?
we've done the quarterly budget process in the past. We just have not always brought quarterly amendments to the Board of Trustees and the EDA Board.
Okay.
The choice, number one, we had good reason to in this case, because we had some items that changed, including the trash receptacle item where we paid the bill. So we want to make sure that got into the 2026 budget. And it was really transferring those funds from 2025 to 26. So there are reasons to bring a first quarter budget amendment.
Okay, sure.
But also, it's good practice, it's simply good financial practice to make sure we're keeping the budget
Yeah.
up to date throughout the year.
I remember historically, it was, isn't there, you have to do it every 6 months though? Is that a requirement from the state? That you had to amend your budget twice a year or once a year? Once in between? It seemed like every 6 months we had an amendment.
You just have to have your budget amendments done by the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah.
So we have to do them in December. So our plan is basically, we're gonna try to hit the second meeting following the end of a quarter. Obviously, that won't hold true for quarter 4. We wanna hit that budget amendment in December. But we thought this was better practice. Then we're staying up to date versus like holding everything and doing all these budget amendments at one time, and then you're getting a long list, or we're having to try to keep track throughout the year, like, oh, did we keep track of X, Y, or Z? If we do it each quarter, then we know we're capturing what we need to capture each quarter.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I have one question, and I assume because you put the accounting code in there that when you say general fund, is that universally understood to mean the Board of Trustees general fund as opposed to our general fund?
That is correct. It is the general fund for the township. Which
Yes.
is,
But that code basically, if I want to know where the $74,000 was going, that code will tell me it's going to go to Mark's.
Into the general fund,
Yeah.
yep, so we
Okay.
use the 101 code for the general fund.
Okay.
So you'd see that 101, and then you'll see numbers correlating to a
Correct.
department.
Yeah, okay. No, thank you. No, I agree. This is a lot of very good changes, very good information, and can finally combine the financials into one report. Like I say, it all looks very good. You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Those are good improvements.
Yep, more timely, current.
Yeah, just all the way around.
So I hear a motion. Any more questions? Motion, anybody? For the request for action?
Move to adopt amendment number 1 for the fiscal year 2026 East DDA District Fund budget with a net decrease in revenues of $12,850 and a net increase in expenditures of $125,160. And to adopt amendment number 1 for the fiscal year 2026 West DDA District Fund budget with a net increase in revenues of $18,540 and a net increase in expenditures of $4,390. And to recommend these budget amendments to the Board of Trustees for final approval. So moved.
A motion by Zalet. There's support.
Support?
Support by Milky. Any more questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. And the motion is approved. Thank you. And moving on to item 9C. How's this public comment different from
We have two public comments.
Public comment number 7.
Before and after?
I have something I'd like to bring up today, new business, throw on the agenda. So, I don't know if this is the correct time under new business, but, some
Well,
trash cans for the MDOT parking lot. You know, the ride and share?
Yep.
There's no trash cans in that lot, and there's a lot of people throwing out their water bottles and coffee. It's a very high garbage place. Let's, we already pick up trash all the way down that corridor. Why don't we consider putting a couple trash cans in there and, taking on that responsibility?
I would say it's not ours.
It's not ours, no, I'm sure that there'll have to be a
But
bit
I
of
guess-
cooperation. I've actually talked to people that I personally picked up trash there this year. I was the one man adopt a lot and cleaned it up.
Thank you.
But there's a lot of trash. in
No,
the
I
parking
see
lot,
that.
Way more than any other stretch there.
Yep.
Those are gonna get filled way before our pedestrian ones do.
Well,
But,
if they get picked up every once in a while, it doesn't,
No, or we're gonna have to
yeah.
do it more often or have more cans there because they are gonna fill up. But, something's better than nothing.
I-
And I just thrown it out there for.
Sounds like a no-brainer to me.
Could we just add that on to our,
Well, what I would suggest is if there's a consensus, we don't need any action today on this, but it's not on the agenda, but if there's a consensus that you're interested in this, we can do some work to see what's possible. Certainly, I know that the local MDOT TSC office would be supportive of any help they can get. And Mr. Bacon is being modest here because he has taken on responsibility to.
And I wanna thank Rodney because I called the state Michigan
Yeah.
Department of Transportation and
Mhm.
didn't have much luck without setting up a club and doing all kinds of things. But Rodney got me in touch with somebody local and
Yeah.
I would personally like to see this. I live like a block away.
Yeah.
you
So
know.
you had conversations with the local MDOT?
Yeah,
Were they receptive from?
yeah.
Okay.
Who'd you talk to over there?
Well, for
Ben?
the one time was
The
the manager on the phone, but then somebody else the second time around, but.
There's some good local people there that are.
I just think that since we are already picking up trash down
Yeah,
that
no,
corridor,
Yeah,
we could put it on our route.
that would make too much sense.
So certainly, it looks like I'm seeing a consensus. I'm seeing some nodding heads.
Yeah.
So if you'd like, we can do some research, come back to you with something more concrete to work with on that,
Yeah.
and see where we go.
or just
Yeah.
do it?
Since it's not ours, there is potential for legal issues there.
I'm sure there would be some kind of agreement. I'm
Right.
sure there would be certainly some funding. There'd be some kind of a request for funding, some kind of a project here
Yeah.
because, as I said, our regular trash receptacle is probably not going to be sufficient.
Before you pick up trash, you're supposed to watch a video to show you what a homemade meth lab looks like.
What do they
So
look like,
yes,
Bob?
there are legal requirements here we're gonna have to follow.
So with that in mind, like I said, with the general consensus I'm seeing, we'll do some research and see what we might be able to put together for some kind of a project, add some receptacles there that we can maintain.
Maybe not legally part of our jurisdiction, but it certainly is in the neighborhood,
Well,
so
yeah.
Okay.
that's a great idea.
Thanks, Bob, for
Thanks, Bob.
looking out. Do you water plants too? I'm saying something. Looking for a job.
Yeah.
I walk down to Starbucks a lot in the summer. I do water plants while I'm going down. I do happen to walk that neighborhood a lot, so I just noticed that one gotten really trashy.
Yep.
So Amy, for the record, next minutes, just simple consensus to pursue that or look into it.
I think that's the best way to put it.
Okay. All right, moving on to agenda item 9D, director comments.
I actually don't have anything else for you today. But there, obviously, we've had a delay in seeing things like flowers and such out there. Obviously, our gateway banners are going up, and you will see shortly, at the end of April, you'll see the Special Olympics banners we put up last year. They'll go up again for the Special Olympics event that will be happening at the end of May. But other than that, I guess I do have one other thing. I think it's mentioned in the report, we did some tree trimming this spring. A couple of tree removals, some dead trees that were taken out. But we also did some tree trimming, especially in front of our new restaurant, the Morning Star Grill, right, Amy? That realized for a moment, I didn't remember if it was grill or restaurant. Anyway, Morning Star Grill is going in front of the Days Inn in the former Kuji Japanese steakhouse space. They asked if we could just trim up the bottom of those trees a little bit, give a little more visibility underneath. And so we worked with folks from the Pleasant Time Herb Farm, that expertise, and he was able to look at what they could adjust without harming anything. So you see that along the corridor. But hopefully very soon you'll be seeing flowers as the weather is finally warming up. And seeing some more activity out there with that as well.
Okay, anything else?
If I may?
Yep.
So we had the audit presentation by Ally Barnes for the East DDA and the West DDA. I was not able to make the joint meeting under the weather. I don't know how many here actually went, but I thought it might be relevant to all of you being citizens or business holders within the township. I'll just give a quick report on the township general fund, et cetera, that the Board of Trustees oversees. And I'll be brief, summarize that. I think the highlight for me, and this is something we've struggled with the Board of Trustees for quite some time, but this is, I don't know if you can see this. This is total fund balance in relation to expenditures. And so what you see is township currently is rated about 300% fund balance with regard to our current expenditures. So essentially we could have 3 years of service without income. I hope we're not underserving, because we have kind of the same issue that this board has. Is you don't want to throw money at just anything, you want to spend it well. And so that we've continued to try to drive this down some, but you don't spend it just to spend it. So the township, the state of the township is very healthy with the general fund. I'm going to leave this here just for a few minutes. I'm going to hang around, so if you want to see it. Fire fund, and just so you understand that, this is kind of a, you can think of this as a capital account. There's expenditure with the contract that we have with the city to do fire for us. But this climbing bar is our fund balance. How that's been used typically in the past is to buy a new fire truck. Okay, so that's why I say capital. Maybe used for something else in the future. Water fund, also healthy, and that continues to climb. You know, we had that nearly $11 million grant that's currently being spent through the state.
Definitely helps.
Yes, the big help. That's not reflected in here, obviously, because that ends up on our asset sheet. Sewer fund continuing to be sound. We're currently going under water and sewer cost study to make sure that we're charging the right amounts. We're not overcharging our residents and businesses, but we're making sure that the future is also safe. And then I think that's it. If you have questions, I can't promise I can answer them, but I can leave this here for a few minutes if you want to look at it.
No, thanks.
And that's yo and yo.
Yes.
too. Okay.
Yep. And so we had the same presentation that this group had, except on these other funds for the Board of Trustees.
Sure. Nice.
No, Ally did a nice job.
And again, no material weaknesses for the other funds.
That's good.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Hearing, seeing no more comments, so we call the meeting adjourned, 5:25. We'll see everybody May 19th.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.